Alright, it's that time of year again. Now that the 2023 to 2024 NFL season has ended, the playoffs are soon to arrive. And now that the playoff teams are set, I'm going to make my predictions for which teams get through each round, and most importantly, who will win the Super Bowl. So, let's start off with the NFC wildcard matches. First, we have Tampa Bay versus the Eagles. Now, I know that the Eagles have been very horrible, absolutely horrible in the last 6 games, with a 1-5 record, and that one win was an ugly win against the Giants, but I really don't think they're just going to lose this playoff game that easily. And on top of that, the Buccaneers just aren't as great of a team this year. So, definitely Eagles over the Buccaneers. Next, Lions versus the Rams. The Rams this year have had some awful wins, like the 1-point wins against the Giants, Seahawks, and the 49ers, while the Lions have been excellent this year and blew everyone's expectations. So I'm definitely picking the Lions to win. Now for the last game of the NFC wildcard match, Cowboys versus Packers. If you look at the bigger picture here, a lot of the Cowboys wins are against some bad teams, like the Giants, Jets, and Commanders. But then the Packers wins have been with incredibly close scores. So I predict the score of this game to also be very close, but I'm going to have to give it to the Cowboys here in a very close score. Now, moving on to the AFC wildcard matches. First, Texans versus Browns. The Texans have not actually been very good this season. They've even lost to the Carolina Panthers, and only 2 teams can get a title like that. Plus, the Browns have already won against the Texans before, so I'm going to have to go with the Browns. Now, Kansas City Chiefs versus Miami Dolphins. I think that the Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions of 2023, have been pretty garbage this season, and the Dolphins have been a pleasant surprise. With that being said, I'm still going to have to go with the Chiefs, since I just can't imagine them throwing in the wildcard round. And finally, Bills versus Steelers. This is another case here where both teams have had some pretty big wins, but also some awful losses. But I think it's clear that the Steelers are definitely in worse shape, so I'll have to go with the Bills. Now that we're done with the wildcard games, we can now move on to the divisional matches, starting with the NFC. First, we have the 49ers versus the Eagles. Do I even have to explain this one? These teams have fought each other before, and the results were very clear. With the Eagles as bad as they have been recently, I am definitely picking the 49ers over the Eagles. Next, Lions versus Cowboys. This one has been very difficult for me to decide, as both of these teams are basically equally as good as the other. These 2 teams have faced before, but it was a very debatable outcome, so I'm gonna have to go with the Lions. Now for the AFC divisional matches. First, Browns versus Ravens. These teams have fought twice before, and both games had very different outcomes, so this can really be anyone's game. But this season, the Ravens have had some tougher matches against tougher opponents than the Browns have had, so I'm going to have to go with the Ravens. Lastly, Chiefs versus Bills. This is going to be another tough game, but just because the Chiefs have been so underwhelming this year and have severely underperformed, I've got to go with the Bills. Alright, we are now done with the divisional games, but moving on to the conference championships. Who will make it to the Super Bowl, and who will not make it to the Super Bowl? First, the NFC championships. 49ers versus the Lions. I am very confident and can say without a doubt that the 49ers will be making it to the Super Bowl. The Lions have done well, and I know that they'll put up a fight, but the 49ers will come out on top. Lastly, the AFC Conference Championships. Ravens versus Bills. Do I even explain this one? It's literally in the logo of the Super Bowl. It's in the colors. And guys, I don't see any blue in this logo, but I am seeing some purple. So I believe that the Ravens will beat the Bills, and I believe that it will be the 49ers versus the Ravens in the Super Bowl. And now for my prediction for who will win the Super Bowl. I know that the bottom color is always supposed to win, but I'm going to go against those odds. I'm going to say that the San Francisco 49ers will be the Super Bowl champions this year. Did they just lose to the LA Rams? Yes they did. But I honestly don't care. Thank you all for watching. Leave your predictions down in the comments. And of course subscribe to the channel so I can make more videos like this. And I will see you all next time. Goodbye.